Hello, my name is Andre Jones, and I'm doing a presentation on mass shootings. So, for the first slide, I wanted to talk about what a mass shooting was, the definition of mass shooting. A mass shooting is a violent crime in which one or more attackers kill or injure multiple individuals simultaneously using a firearm. In 2012, there were over 16 recorded mass shootings, with the most popular one happening in Aurora at a movie theater in Colorado. So just a quick explanation of what we're going to be talking about today is James G. Holmes shooting in Colorado, just to sum it up real quick. James Holmes fired his weapon, including a semi-automatic rifle with a 100-round capacity in a packed movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. Mr. Holmes was arrested for killing 12 people and wounding 58 others. He had no known criminal background before the shooting occurred. Before the shooting, Holmes booby-trapped his apartment with explosives, which were defused one day after by the bomb squad. So this is just a build-up of what happened and what was going through Holmes' mind and the events that led up to it. On May 22nd, 2012, Holmes purchased a Glock 22 pistol at a Gardner Mountain shop in Aurora. 6 days later, on May 28th, he bought a Remington 870 Express tactical shotgun at a Bass Pro Shop store in Denver. On June 7th, just hours after failing his oral exam at a university, he purchased another sports rifle. All three of these weapons were bought legally, and background checks were, of course, performed in the 4 months prior to the shooting. Holmes also bought 3,000 rounds of ammunition for the pistol, 3,000 rounds for the M&P 15, and 350 shotgun shells On July 2nd, he placed an order for a Black Hawk Urban Assault Vest, 2 magazine holders, a knife, and an online on an online retailer. He also purchased spike traps, which he later admitted that he was gonna throw them out in case the cops chase him, basically, while they were chasing him. Later, on June 25th, less than a month before the shooting, Holmes emailed an application to join a gun club in Colorado. The owner, Glenn Rosnikoff, called him several times throughout the following days to invite him to a mandatory orientation, but could only reach him with his answer machine. He admitted later that Holmes had a weird voice, spoke deep, raspy, just a weird voice. He was incoherent, rambling, just on to the next topic over and over and over again. But even then, Holmes never showed up to the gun range or even called back. And Glenn Rosnikoff, the gun store owner, even admitted it felt like he was talking to the Joker, like the movie character, the Joker. He never showed up to the gun range, and they thought that was kind of weird later on, looking back on it. On July 19th, just hours before the shooting started, Holmes mailed a notebook to a psychologist. The notebook detailed his thoughts and plans during the weeks preceding the shooting. The notebook was found in an undelivered package at the medical campus mailroom. Immediately prior to the shooting, Holmes called a crisis hotline for mental, with hopes that someone would talk to him and, talk to him out of doing the massacre, having what happened in the theater. And he called for 9 seconds and quickly hung up right after. Holmes' defense attorney stated in a motion that he was a psychiatric patient of a medical director of student mental health before the shooting, so he was already a patient he knew something was wrong with him, basically. The prosecutor disagreed with that claim. 4 days after the release of the defense attorney's motion, the judge required this information to be blacked out, so like just wiped off, like not talked about at all, not mentioned in the courtroom. CBS News later reported that Holmes had met with at least 3 mental health professionals at the University of Colorado before the massacre. One of them, who was informed by Holmes of his homicidal thoughts, they gave him a borderline check. So borderline means he's not too far off the edge. I mean, he's fine, he's stable, but they only gave him that result because they didn't want him to go off the edge. They thought it was going to make everything worse, inflame the situation. So for the arrest, they arrested him by Holmes snuck out the exit door, propped it open. He had planned all this, like where he was going to exit out of. But he snuck out of the exit door, popped it open, and returned with weapons and other gear. He set off several gas or smoke canisters, and then started opening fire on the. Not before the arrest. So this is before the arrest. Holmes snuck out an exit door, popped it open, and returned with weapons and other gear, setting off gas grenades, smoke canisters, and opening fire on the theater audience, killing 12, wounding 70. And then on July 20th, the next day, police arrested Holmes without resistance while he was standing next to his car behind the 16th Century 16 Theater. Moments after the shooting, according to testimonies during the following trial, Holmes was initially calm and detached during the arrest, but became interested in watching the aftermath of the shooting after beginning placed. So he was arrested, and while he was being arrested, he just looked like he was enjoying the aftermath, just watching what was going on while he was in the back of the car. The responding officers recovered several guns from inside the car. Inside the car, his car and theater. Once apprehended, Holmes told the police that he had booby-trapped the apartment with explosive devices before heading to the theater, and that was later confirmed. All right, we're back. So this was the aftermath. After the shooting, and he was jailed without bail while awaiting trial. On July 30th, 10 days later, Colorado prosecutors filed formal charges against Holmes that included 24 counts of first-degree murder, 116 counts of attempted murder, possession of explosive device, and inciting violence. Multiple charges expanded the opportunities for prosecutors to obtain convictions for each person killed in the shooting. Holmes was charged with 1 count of murder with deliberation and 1 count of murder with extreme indifference. Holmes agreed to waive his rights to his preliminary hearing within 35 days. Following this, he was hospitalized after attempting suicide several times while in jail. Holmes entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, which was accepted. His trial began on April 27, 2015. On August 26, 2015, Judge Carlos A. Samanar sentenced Holmes to 12 consecutive life sentences plus 3,318 years without parole, after the jury spared Holmes the death penalty by just 1 vote. Now, for the psychological aspect, this is going into, why they ruled him to be insane. Forensic psychiatrists are not baffled by these tragedies. One drive would never explain them. Instead, experts have sorted them into types of One driver never explained them. Instead, experts have sorted them into types, which bring the crimes into remarkably clear relief. These researchers find that aside from terrorism, most of these mass murders are committed uh, by criminals who fall into three groups: psychopath, delusionally insane, and the suicidally depressed. And for example, the Columbine shooting, he was deeply oppressed. Eric Hayes, he was a psychopath. And there was another Asian guy at Virginia Tech who was um, delusionally insane, I think. Um, Furthermore, if Holmes, well, if I was the defense, I would say something like, if Holmes was a psychopath, then okay, like he was a psychopath, and that Friday was the day he was going to do it. That Friday, he just made up his mind that Friday to go kill. But there was planning going into it. I don't think he was a psychopath because he planned this out for months. He was buying ammunition. He was going to stores. He was emailing people. He spent years descending into his own thoughts of this. Like, there wasn't a time where, well, he asked for help. There's that. But as a defense, I would say he planned it. He planned all of this, and he knew. He looked at multiple different movie theaters he can hit. He looked at all the guns he can buy. He bought bulletproof vests. He bought spike traps for a chase. There's too much that go into it to register him to just be clear to be clinically insane. And another thing, he can go, if he's crazy enough to plan those out to get all the guns, then why wouldn't he be smart enough to go to the university and say, I need help, and tell them that they need help, and plan that to make it look like he is insane. So I think he was just it's just off. It's a crazy trial for sure. It's two worlds for sure, and yeah. Thank you, Andre Jones. Mass shootings. Final presentation.